Hello, folks. Welcome to... Wow. Okay. Welcome to Joe and I trying to help people. I'm Logan. You can hear my
I'm
voice.
Hi, I'm Joe. You can
Um,
also hear my voice.
so we're gonna do... I'm gonna do these super quick, like, basically, I'm just gonna install IntelliJ, make a quick Scala project, and submit it to AutoGrader. And you guys are more than welcome to ask questions while that's happening. But just so that way we have video somewhere of this happening. Um, yeah. And I'm gonna have to run at one point during this for about half of a second, and Joe will just take over then. So the first thing you need for this is you need the Java 1.8 developer kit. You might be able to get with the 1. What is it, Joe? 1.12? I don't know.
Stick with 1.8.
Yeah,
1.12 may work, but
I don't know. I've always used 1.8, so
there's a possibility of issues, very low possibility, but we'd prefer no issues, so
you
stick with
go here, you
1.8.
scroll all the way down. If you're on Mac, you want to download the Mac x64. If you're on Linux, you should probably already know how to do this. If you're on Windows, download the Windows x64. Um, for some reason, you can't just click in the middle of the statement for it to go. You have to actually click the checkbox, which is dumb. Click download. It's going to bring you to a page of like you have to sign in. I'm already logged in Oracle, so you don't have to sign in, but you're going to have to either make an Oracle account or sign into your already existing Oracle account. Next thing you're going to have to do is hop over to this tab. So we're going to go to the GitHub Student Pack. So this is a really cool thing that GitHub does, and you can basically GitHub will let you all of these things here you can use for free. So one of those really important things, especially for this class, is Jetbrains. So we use the IntelliJ IDE, and you get a free subscription for students as long as you're in school. You have to renew it every year. You'll use it during 250 as well. So we're going to download that. What you need to do is you need to apply for this. So you go get your pack, and then you're going to sign into your account, and I don't feel like doing all of this right now, but you'll sign into your account, you'll apply. They're basically going to require you to prove that you are a student, and you'll be good. Then we're going to go over to JetBrains. JetBrains here, we're RT Keenan. We're going to go over that, okay? We're going to go over everything as we get to it. So we're going to go here, and they're basically saying IntelliJ-based IDEs. We're going to go to Tools, and we're going to find IntelliJ IDEA. Go download. I've already downloaded this, so we'll click download here on Ultimate, so that's here already. Harjas, this will stay here for the next 14 days, I believe, and then one of our TAs, Mike, will actually take the video, cut it as needed, and upload it to YouTube, so that way, if you need to go back, you're more than welcome to. So we're going to install these two things. So we're going to first install Java. So this is going to open like that. And it's going to either install or not install because I think I have it before. So we're going to go next. It's going to do, Java installation shit. Yeah, he did. Jesse did say that he was going to break his IntelliJ next lecture, but I wanted a lot of people were having questions about a lot of different things, so I wanted to have one thing going through the entirety of it because I know Jesse's not going to go through that. Highlighted Wolf, I would recommend not using IntelliJ edu. I know it's free and open source, but since you have the IntelliJ Ultimate license, there's a lot of things that you can do with that, specifically Python servers that you might have to do later in the course, and Sql integration that I know for a fact that Ultimate does that the rest doesn't do. So I would see right here, database tools SQL, and you probably almost certainly will have to use SQL later in the semester, so I would just do the GitHub Student Pack and do the Ultimate Edition. So we're going to go back here. It wants to install the JRE to my program file folder. Fine, done. We're going to install Java. We're going to see the scariest thing known to humankind. Joe, you know what I'm talking about? The 8 billion devices run Java or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Puck Guy Kev, when you go to download the JDK, specifically Google JDK 1.8 download. and it'll be that first one. It's Java SE Development Kit 8, and it'll be here. I can take the link and put it into the chat for those of you who are following along at home.
Also, a quick side note relating to Java installation. If you are on a Linux machine, you're going to also have to install
OpenJDK.
OpenJDK is the normal.
OpenJRE.
What's the for the GUIs?
JFX.
Yeah, you're gonna have to install JFX separately. It will come in 1.8 on Windows and Mac by default, but you'll have to install it manually if you're on Linux.
Yes, PuckGuyKev, you do need an Oracle account. So we're just gonna click close here. So the JDK is now installed. I'm gonna hop over to my downloads, which as you can see is just full of calendars and shit. We're gonna open Intellij Setup. I just recently uninstalled Intellij, like today, specifically, so that way we can reinstall it as a group here. So this is going to be it going together for the first time on here as well. So I'm just going to install it into my program files folder. You can switch that installation place if you really need to. I'm going to create a 64-bit launcher on my desktop, and Joe's going to answer some questions now.
Yes, I am. Does anybody have any questions?
We will continue this in a moment, but the UPS man is here, and I need to sign for a package.
UB Marcos, do you mean the EDU version or the student edition of Ultimate? Okay, then you should be perfectly fine with that. If you feel confident in going ahead with the pre-written instructions, you can go ahead, or you can wait till Logan gets back and we'll finish showing you exactly how to set up Intellij from the start here. Okay, so you download the EDU. So honestly, have you signed up for the GitHub student pack yet? That would include Jetbrains. So once you sign up for that, you're just going to want to replace the EDU version with Ultimate. Simply, they'll both work at the start of the course, but when we start dabbling with SQL and using Python alongside Scala, it's going to just make your life a lot easier if you have Ultimate. And it'll just generally be a nicer user interface and just functionality within your IDE if you have Ultimate, because that's just their best version of Intellij. Yep. I believe. I'm gonna go pull the link and I will send it in Twitch chat in just a second here. So, Chris Corby, currently you're going to want to use Object, mostly. We'll start showing you what classes are in not sure if we'll get into it next week or it might be the week after. But for now, just use Object if you just want to run just some basic code in your main function. And if it's a 30-day trial, you just need to make sure you're signed in with the account that you have linked the student developer pack with. Otherwise, it's currently just giving you basically a just test mode to try out Intellij for a month.
I am back. My cat got out, but we have fixed that as well. So, as I said, we're gonna make the 64-bit launcher and just click next. Just saying you want to choose the start menu folder, and I don't need to, so we're gonna extract all of that. And Harjas, It might need to get approved by GitHub if you just signed up for your GitHub account, your GitHub Student Developer Pack today. If you're still, I would just let it go, and if it tells you in 30 days that you have an issue, come back to it, and just check to make sure you actually have that license. Because it should fix itself.
Yep. There's going to be no difference when you're on the 30-day trial from if you have the student pack, so if it takes a little bit of time, it's fine. Just make sure you have it after that 30 days if there's an issue in like a week or two.
So we're just kind of waiting for this to install now. Just kind of chilling.
And Chris Corby, just give me 1 second. I'm gonna check if they changed the actual
Chris, actually, if you would wait a
file
moment,
structure here,
because we're just gonna, as soon as I get IntelliJ downloaded, we're gonna create a little project together. So that should help you. It says no internet connection. How do I fix? You reset your router.
Oh, I didn't realize he was saying that for a second.
Neither did I, and then I realized it was our good friend Serial Guy.
Oh, that's great. Serial Guy, you'll find this funny. Our last mod action on Twitch was banning you from chat for 30 seconds.
It's on fire now. Thanks for the help. That was what I was supposed to do, I believe. Okay.
Glad to hear. I just.
Yep, glad to hear so much. Okay, so we're gonna run IntelliJ because there's still more setup even after you install it, because of course there is. So I'm not importing any settings. I didn't have any settings from the last one other than dark mode, which if you come to me via Zoom in light mode, I will not help you. You think that's a joke, but it's not. So we don't need anything on this page. These are all actually installed already, and it's just asking if you want to disable any of them. The next page is really important though, the featured plugins page. We want to install Scala on this page. It's going to take half a second to do. See, it's already at 30%. We don't really need any of the rest of these, but we really do need Scala. That's a rather important part of this. Just slightly important.
Don't say.
Alright, so now it's installed, we're going to go start using IntelliJ. JDK installation, all I did was I went and I googled JDK 1.8 download, clicked on the link here, scrolled down to the bottom here where we've got...
was up above, right?
What's
I'll
up?
send it one more time.
Yeah, the link is somewhere there. That link that that Joe just sent. And you're going to click on the Windows one if you've got Windows x64. If you've got a Mac, you'll click Mac OS x64. If you have Linux, you should know how to do this. And if you don't, come to one of us later, because it's such a few amount of people that have Linux that it won't matter at this point.
If you're on Linux and you're very lost, just make a Piazza post.
And someone will help. All of us use Linux. I know it doesn't look like I'm using Linux. I know it doesn't look like I'm using Linux, but this computer dual boots. So, our first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a new project, right? Now this is the newest version of IntelliJ, and it's telling me that there's plugin updates available. We'll get to that in a little bit. So we're going to go to Scala Idea Project, which is the type of compiler that we're using. So I'm going to call this Review Session. And it says Scala library, no library selected. So we're going to click Create here. It's going to do some stuff. And it's going to tell me there's no Scala here, which is fine. So we're going to download. And we're going to go version, and then I'm going to choose 2.12.8, which is my preferred version. I know that 2.12.12 exists and that kind of stuff. I've always used 12.8. I've never had an issue with 12.8. Students have used other ones, and they've had issues, so I use 2.12.8. I'm going to make sure my JDK is version 1.8. So you see how it popped up there on the folders? Then I'm just going to click Finish, and it'll open up IntelliJ. So it's prepared the workspace, and now it looks like, well, there's nothing here other than them asking to see if I can get through the firewall, which sure, why not? So if I click here on the project bar, it's going to open up the file structure of this. So if I open up this review section, we'll see we have an idea folder, which is some caching stuff to go with the IDE, an IML file, which is a file that the idea compiler needs, and this SRC file, which is where all of your code is going to go. So if I right click the SRC file, I'll be able to click New, Scala class. And so here I'm going to be able to choose whether I want a class, a case class, an object, a case object, or a trait. All you know about right now is objects, so we're going to create one of those. So this object is going to be review. So when I press enter, you'll see that in here we're going to have a piece. I know that Jesse likes to do this all the time, so just quickly going over how to create a package. So if you right click here and you go new, towards down here will be the word package, which is basically like a folder inside of your SRC folder. So he likes to do in a package called 160 like CSE. In a package called CSE, we're going to hit enter, and then we can just move this right into that package and refactor it, which will figure itself out. Puck guy. So that should
be fine.
That should be fine. As long as that works, that's fine. JDK 1.8.0. Underscore whatever, that just means that you're still using that 1.8 JDK, as well as, yeah, whatever it is. But again, mine just recognized where that was. If you need to go look for it, that's where it should be. So in here I want to write a little bit of code, so I'm going to write def main, if I could type. I never understand how Jesse gets it to actually write main, by the way.
You just write main and press enter.
Oh, it's just main.
Yeah, no def. Yeah.
This is saddening.
Why doesn't it work on yours?
I don't know. It's never worked on my computer. But it's the main is like an array of space. Okay, so thank you, PJ, for understanding my plights. Space. It very much does matter what version of Scala you use. You need to use something in the 2.12 area. Okay, so you cannot use 2.13. Yeah, see, mine just doesn't like me. It just I don't get it. But I think it's an array of strings or something like that. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. We don't really need a main for right now. So we're gonna go def, and then what are we gonna put in here? We're gonna call this function, and it's gonna take nothing. It's gonna return a string, and it's gonna equal this. So that's how we write our most basic functions in Scala. So it's def to say we're writing a function, then it's our function name. In here is going to be our parameters. So if I go,
okay, it worked for me.
I told you my stuff is garbage. In here you'll put parameters, so you could put a is an int if I wanted to take an integer in. Let's take an integer in for right now. And it's going to return a string. So in here it's yelling at me already because it's saying that this function right now is returning a unit, but it requires you to return a string. So it's really confused right now that I'm not giving it what it wants, but that's just because I have nothing in it. So let's say a could be a value that's either 0, 1, or 2, right? So I'm going to say, and it'll return the string value. So if I input 1, if a is equal to 1, right, we're going to return in quotes 1. That kind of stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write an if statement that says if a, which is our parameter of an integer that's either 0, 1, or 2, if a is equal to 0, we're going to return 0. Else if. Now you actually have to write out else if. You cannot just say elif like you can in Python. So else if a is equal to 1, we're going to return 1, and then else. Thank you. Else we're going to return 2. Oh, actually, let's do something a little bit different here. We're going to have another else if that says else if a is equal to 2, return 2, and then our else statement is actually going to be just returning invalid input, because we only want it to be 0, 1, or 2. So this function works. If I didn't just delete half the function. This function works. What it does is it says that if a is equal to 0, we're going to return the word 0. If a is equal to 1, we're going to return the word 1. If a is equal to 2, we're going to return the word 2. Otherwise, it's an invalid input. Now, what Scala does, and what Jesse said today about Scala, is that that's annoying. Is that the last thing evaluated in an expression will be the thing returned. So if I go here and I write print line, and then I write, I don't know, today, right? The function's going to yell at me because it sees that this is it's still looking for us to return a string, and it's not finding the string, it's finding a unit, which is basically saying we're not returning anything. Print line as a function does not return anything. So when I call this from main, when I go def main, which this is close enough to that main function. Oh, apparently it's not close enough.
It's just, it takes args and it's an array of strings.
Oh, now it's really upset.
Capital A on array.
I did put a capital A.
Oh, it's really pixelated, right?
Cool. Only classes can have declared but undefined members. Oh, equals. There we go. Fixed it. So in here, if I call this function, I go print line function of 1. What this will do is this will then print a 1 for me. So when I run this, by clicking the little arrow next to main, which is the function I want to actually run, it's going to build, as we see at the bottom here. It's going to search for compatible files. It's going to do a bunch of stuff, right? We're going to wait.
While this is loading, if you're too lazy to hit the green button like me, you can press Control Shift F10, and it will run your currently focused program.
Yeah, but if you're on a laptop, that becomes Control Shift FN F10. And if you have a 60% keyboard, then it gets really rough really quickly. So this printed out 1.
I'm just saying what I do.
Which is great that this printed out 1. So let's say that that's our project. We just needed to take an input. So let's copy this and do this 4 times with 1, 0, 2, and I don't know, 72, right? So we're just gonna, now we can click this green button at the top, which is gonna recompile the code that is in this box. So it's gonna recompile our review object, and then run it. So we get 1, 0, 2, and invalid input, which is what we expected. I love my 60% direction. I swear by it. It's the third one I've owned. Fight me. So let's say that this is it. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go here. We're gonna go export. We're gonna go project to zip file, and I'm make a run configuration. I have absolutely zero clue. Are you sure? The first questions are you sure you're in an object? And are you sure you have a main? And are you sure that both of those return the correct thing? For example,
our source is marked as root.
And our source is marked as root. That's the other thing. So your source folder here, when you create a new project, it should be correctly made. But if it's not, if you right-click this and you go mark directory as, you're going to want to mark directory as source is root. This folder has to be blue, or else your programs will not run that way. The other thing is make sure you have your right version of Scala. So the best way to check that is to go to settings. You're gonna go to, where is it? Plugins? No, it's, well, first of all, check to make sure Scala is installed. That's a good thing. You're actually gonna go to File, Project Structure, Global Libraries, and make sure in here you have a Scala SDK and the correct Scala SDK. If you have more than one in here, delete all of them that aren't the 2.12 point whatever, right? In SDKs, you should have that 1.8 Java one. 1.13, 1.13 should work, but again, recommend 1.8 so that way it doesn't screw that up. So let's say I'm done now, right? So I'm going to go File, Export, Project to Zip file. And I'm going to save this to my desktop. It's called reviewsession.zip. So Scala just exported it. SRC needs to be marked as sources, and RT Keenan, I'm not 100% sure why that's not working. If you can make a Piazza post about that, that would be great. You can make it private to myself and Joe, if you need to. Puck Guy, if you go to File, Project Structure, and Global Libraries, you should only have the Scala SDK 2.12.12 in your case, or 11 or whatever you have. I have 2.12.8. And then, additionally, in the SDK portion of this, you realistically should only have the 1.8, or whichever SDK you're using. Again, TAs recommend using 1.8 for the SDK and and 2.12.8 for the Scala version, because that is the thing that we have by far seen the least amount of issues with. So if you only have those two things, then your Scala and your SDK won't mess up. So I'm going to apply those things, and it's going to be all good. So if I now hop over to my desktop, right, so we see that here now I have this review session zip file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to Chrome Edge here, and we're going to submit to some random thing in an old semester, right? So if I hop over to the Spring 2020 CSE 116 computer science thing, and I hop into this lecture question on first Scala program, which is what you guys are currently submitting to. If you click, I affirm I've complied with this course's academic integrity policy, which hopefully you have, and you click submit. This won't say submit late for you, but obviously it's past May 8th for me on this one, and I can submit, and it's going to say where's your thing. You're going to go to your for me, I'm going to go to my desktop. I'm going to find, where is it, reviewsession.zip, and I'm going to submit. And now this is going to return an error because I haven't submitted the correct thing. But that's okay for this. So it's going to look something like this. It's going to say the file is your UB email underscore whatever attempt this is underscore handin.zip. If you click the download button, you can download the whatever you just submitted. If you click the plus button, you can actually look at all the files. So you'll see all the files that are here. So all the files that are standardly in IDEA, the review session IML, and this is that review.scala file that we just made. If you click on the magnifying glass again, you can see in here exactly what our file is. So you can kind of check to make sure your files are correct. And it's going to say there's a complete thing, which right after what this column is supposed to be for, it's going to say what this column is out of. So complete is out of 1.0. How many late days I've used, which isn't really going to be a column used, total score, and a tweak. And I can, obviously I have administrative options in here that you guys won't see, like regrade, destroy, and edit. So if I click on this 0.0, obviously I didn't get credit for this because this question asks something different. I think this question asks the same thing that your guys' does, but I'm not going to code yours on stream. If I click on 0.0, it'll actually give me whatever the grader returned. So this is going to say that it sees the archive of this zip file, it's created a bunch of stuff, right? And it's testing my submission against some stuff that Hartloff is asking it to go against. There's an error while grading it, but the scores are complete. So I'm now going to go, we're gonna turn off display cap for a second, not that display cap. This one for a moment, and I'm going to get a correct version of this lecture question, and I'll show you what it looks like when I have submitted it correctly. So let's go. Yeah, let's do this.
I'd also like to make a quick side note about extracting your assignments to the zip. So when you're actually compressing any of your assignments, make sure you're saving the zip file outside of the folder you're currently coding in.
Correct.
Otherwise, the next time you go to submit, it will zip the zip inside of the zip, and this will cause a lot of issues.
You're going to recursively be zipping things, and in this case,
Yeah,
that is not good. So
yeah,
we're
and
back here. Now we're back
Automator will
here.
not like that.
And as you can see back on this homepage now, you can see that I've submitted once and I have a 0 in the complete. But if I go again here and submit late, on my desktop I now have another file called review session 2, and I'm going to submit that now. So we'll go here, and it's gonna do that same grading thing. It's gonna take a second. Do not freak out that it doesn't do it immediately. Mine's gonna take extra long because it has to, do the internet stuff, and I'm also streaming at the same time. But that's okay. So we're gonna continuously refresh it. I'm one of the people that just continuously clicks the refresh button until it pops up. You might have to wait a little bit longer, especially if your code is timing out. Okay, so now we can see that I've gotten the 1.0. So our complete column says 1.0 and our total score is 1.0. If I click on 1.0, it'll say that I extracted all of these things, right? It's testing my solution, lecture question complete, scores are complete. That's what it looks like when you've submitted a good lecture question. Alright. That's all I had planned. If you guys have any questions, now would be the time to ask. And if as long as they're more general, if they're very specific to your code, I'd recommend making a private Piazza post to myself and Joe specifically, and we'll be more than happy to answer them. Actually, Joe will be more than happy to answer them while I keep on here. Yeah. So, Puckeye Kev, this will be uploaded to Twitch, and then Highlighted Wolf. For the main method, are we always calling a function, hence giving it a random argument? No. So the main method can do a bunch of different things. So in this specific case, I told it to do that. But in here, we can put whatever we want. So I can say var a is equal to var b is equal to 3, and then b plus equals 7. So now b is equal to 10. That's some just a little bit of shorthand that you'll learn very quickly. This is saying the same thing as b equals b plus 7. If you folks were not aware of that, there is no b plus plus in this language. Okay, maybe there is a b plus plus.
No, there's not. You have to do plus equals 1.
That's what I thought, but it didn't yell at me immediately. And then I can throw...
But it won't do what you think it does.
Yeah, okay. Then I can throw in a variable here, and then I can say this is b minus 7, so that'll actually be a 3. You can do a bunch of different things in your main. You can treat it like any other function, but just for code's sake, you want your main to be very small. You want it to basically take in your inputs that you're taking in from the GUI and the rest, and like your command line and anything else that you would do there, and you want it to send it out to other functions to do things. Yeah, and Puckeye Kev, if I was to open Edge and I was to pop into Twitch, if I was to pop right to the channel here, which is going to create some inception, and I went to the home page, if you were to go to videos right here, the video is either going to show up now or it will show up when I'm done, when I click stop on this. If I was to pop right to the channel here, which is going to create some inception. Can hear myself now. I don't want to hear myself. The other thing is we will be doing review sessions throughout the semester. Probably not Joe, but myself and another TA, Jacob, will be doing review sessions. So that will be fun for all of you. So it'll always be on this channel. If anybody else have questions, please shoot them. Marcos, I just saw that pop up, and I can probably tell you exactly why that is. So, Marcos, the first probability is that if you come here to review, or whatever your object name is, and you right-click it, there's a little thing here that says Run Review. Try that first, and then the green triangles might show up. Sometimes they don't immediately show up. Yeah. Unless anybody else has a question, then that's it. Joe and I are going to stick around for a couple minutes. So if you do have a question, go for it. But that's it. And Mike will upload this as needed. It'll go onto YouTube as well as Twitch.
UB Marcos, so you're going to want to right click on the actual object in your file structure, so underneath the folder.
I'm demonstrating it as you're saying it, Joe.
Yep. And then you'll see it has an option to run down there, and just see if that's there for you as well.
Yeah, we'll stick around until about 6:45, and then we'll be out of here. You know what? Highlighted Wolf, we're gonna actually pull the lecture question up, and I can try and help you there. So if we go to the website, which is so conveniently named CSE116, and little known, try and put it inside of a package, that might help. Little known fact about this page that you'll know very quickly, if you click on these blue bars, you can actually minimize them. So you can minimize the whole website.
UB Marcos, on that Piazza post, are you able to send a screenshot of your actual IntelliJ file structure?
So if we go to Introduction to Scala, and I click here on these slides, it's going to open the PDF of today's slides, and I'm going to scroll down right to here, because Jesse made it life's easier on us and put the lecture question at the top. So you're confused as to what argument to give compute shipping method. So compute shipping method takes a double representing the weight of a package as a parameter. That's what you're going, you're not going to actually put anything in your main method when you submit it. Your main method is there so that way you can put some stuff in, so that way you can test to make sure that this works correctly. So when I submit this to AutoGrader, all of this is going to be gone in here, just so that way our function is going to be there. So that way Jesse can put his own inputs into the function, because when you run a piece of code like this, it's going to automatically run the main, and you don't want it to run the main. You want Jesse to be able to put in whatever he wants. So when you submit files, almost always you should not have something in the main. It should be a completely clear main. Most of the time, and the reason why I had to figure out how to write a main is because you don't even write a main. There's no reason to unless you're testing it yourself. Which Jesse will go over probably on Friday. No, he'll go over Monday and Tuesday about testing your programs. Any way to fix the main shortcut? It doesn't work for me. Puck, you're gonna have to be either A, a little bit more specific, or B, you're gonna have to throw us something in Piazza. Probably the Piazza would work better. I would think that would be the best way to do it. Alright, we're actually going to end the stream here. Joe and I will be around to answer Piazza questions for the next little while. So if you guys still have a question, specifically with code,
Actually,
make sure it's
real quick. UB Marcos, I believe your braces may be off, and that might be causing it. Actually, no. Never mind. We'll figure it out on Piazza.
There's a declaration never used. It's confused.
What declaration?
I don't know. Line 13. Oh, that args. Oh, I know why. UB Marcos. I'm going to change my code a slight amount. And now the thing doesn't show up. Right here on line, I think it's line 3 for you. Yeah, line 3, you have a slight issue. is
Oh, okay.
yeah, you see what the issue is? So basically, you have a class called lecture question, and inside that an object. One or the other, and the answer here is object. So you want to delete that part on the top that says class and the subsequent bracket that goes with it, and just have your object. You can't run code unless it's in an object. You cannot run code in a class. You'll understand more of that on Friday when Jesse goes over objects versus classes, and throughout the rest of the semester. Alright, but that's going to be it for today. See you all.